This is Josh Friedman coming to you from Thessaloniki, Greece, the capital of Greece's Macedonia region. I have been making my way around town speaking to locals about the long-standing Macedonian name dispute, which could be coming to a conclusion very shortly, but many people here still remain very passionate and very angry about the issue, and angry about the agreement that has been struck between the Greek and Macedonian governments on resolving the issue. So briefly, for the past 2.5 decades, there's been a dispute over the name of Greece's neighbor to the north, known by their constitution as the Republic of Macedonia or just Macedonia, but known in diplomatic circles as FYROM, because Greece has been refusing to recognize Macedonia by the name Macedonia, and that's over the historical issues having to do with this region. Greeks have long said that their Slavic neighbors to the north have been staking claim to Greek history that has come from this region. An example of that is behind me. You see this statue of Alexander the Great right here in the heart of Thessaloniki, and in the heart of Skopje, the capital of Macedonia, the other Macedonia, there's a quite similar statue. And Greeks here, particularly in the Macedonia region, have been saying for years that their neighbors to the north have been trying to appropriate their name and history. So for a long time, Greece was insisting on vetoing Macedonia's membership in both NATO and the European Union. But that veto has now been lifted because a little more than a month ago, the Greek and Macedonian governments struck a deal on resolving the name issue. The deal basically goes as such. FYROM, or the Republic of Macedonia, will be renamed North Macedonia, or the Republic of North Macedonia. But at the same time, the citizens of that country are still, under this deal, allowed to consider themselves Macedonians or Macedonian nationals, and they're still allowed to refer to their language as Macedonian. And these are a couple elements of the deal that people here strongly object to. Although I must say, from my discussions with locals, it seems as though people here are overwhelmingly opposed to any sort of agreement with their neighbor to the north on the Macedonian name issue if it allows the northern neighbor of theirs to use the name Macedonia at all. I'm going to cut to interview footage momentarily, but first I'm just going to say where this agreement stands right now, which is the agreement is in the process of being ratified. It must get through Parliament here in Greece, and there's a pretty decent chance it will, although there is a lot of opposition, anger, and protests. There was a mass protest here before the deal was struck. There were protests down in Athens right after the deal was struck. There was a no confidence vote, but the Greek government survived that. Meanwhile, to the north, the Macedonian parliament has approved the agreement. The president is refusing to sign it, but ultimately there it's going to come down to a referendum. There's going to be a referendum in FYROM, or Macedonia, on the name deal. If it passes, it will be ratified up there. Here, there is not going to be a referendum. If the government ratifies it, then it's said and done, and the agreement is final, and Macedonia, or FYROM, could enter international bodies under the name of North Macedonia. So now I'm going to give you some brief interview footage with a few locals, one of whom was expressing some conflicted support for the deal, I would say, while the others were not. And I would say from most of my conversations with locals, people are passionately against this agreement, overwhelmingly opposed striking any sort of deal that would allow the northern neighbor to be known as Macedonia, or even have Macedonia in their name. So here we go. You can hear from a few locals here in Thessaloniki.
I'm Katerina and I live in Thessaloniki. I'm very angry about the situation. I'm very angry with our Prime Minister. I'm very angry about this whole situation.
And why are you angry about it?
Because I'm Greek. I'm from Macedonia, and they are forcing me and my family to go out. Why?
Who is forcing you to go out?
The whole Greek government.
They're making you leave
Yeah.
Macedonia
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
go where?
Wherever. Australia, Sweden, out. Away from here, because I don't feel Greek here. I don't feel that I'm in my country. That's why.
And is that because the neighboring country is allowed to call itself Macedonian?
Because they don't respect of nothing. That's why.
The people in what you refer to as FYROM, they don't respect anything.
They don't respect anything. They didn't ask us. So what? That's why.
Okay, Ευχαριστώ.
Παρακαλώ.
I'm Tassos and I live in Thessaloniki. First of all, I believe that both countries came into mutual terms, so everyone loses and both wins, if that makes sense. There are no clear winners between the two countries. I think it's good for both countries to be friendlier to each other, because in Balkans in general, not only to Greece and FYROM, but also Albania, Bulgaria, and even Turkey, the relationship between all the countries is not the best. So I believe it is positive for the countries to become more and more friendly to each other. I believe that's good.
Are you okay with your neighbors to the north referring to themselves as Macedonians and referring to their language as Macedonian?
To be honest, they were even before the agreement, so I don't believe it makes that of a difference. I guess they have the right to be called so. They don't have the right to capitalize on the history. I believe the history is in both countries. This was the land where Alexander the Great was born, raised, and did all the work that he did that we know until this point. He was Greek. The language that he spoke was Greek. He had Greek names. He believed in Greek gods. So the history, I believe it was Greek, but their land was Macedonia, so they have the right, I think, to be called so.
So will you refer to them as North Macedonia now?
To be honest, I don't think so. I was born and I knew them as Skopje. That was the name I learned them. So I think I will still call them as Skopje, but I guess the whole world will call them North Macedonia. But even before that, they will call them Macedonia, so it doesn't make that of a difference.
Ευχαριστώ. City you live in?
Here, Thessaloniki.
Okay. Can you say your name?
My name?
Yes.
Makis.
Can you tell me your opinion?
Where are you from?
I'm from America.
Yes.
Can you tell me your opinion on the agreement with Skopje about the Macedonian name?
Macedonia is only Thessaloniki, here, only. Skopje is Skopje. Understand? Not Macedonia.
So you do not support making any agreements that will
Yes.
allow Skopje to use the name
Yes.
Macedonia?
Exactly.
And why is Macedonia only here and not there?
Because this is Alexander, you know? The big Alexander, you know? Is only Greek. It's not Skopje. Skopje is... πώς είναι οι Σλάβοι τώρα, Σλάβοι.
Slavic, yes.
Understand? Yes. Only this. It's simple.
Ευχαριστώ.
Παρακαλώ.